Hello and welcome to the enchanted kingdom of Hermione. I'm the Lord Chamberlain of the Enchanted Kingdom Zip Gun, and we're up here in the Turret of Pleasure, which is the nerve center of the Enchanted Kingdom. And we have recently come into possession of some of the new Quadio releases. Now, what is Quadio, you say? Well, those of you that know this channel know that I'm a big fan of the old school 1970s quadrophonic. And quadrophonic was 4-channel sound. So you had stereo, front right, left right, and you had rear left right. And so it gave you, again, there was lots of good reasons to do it. Certainly it would make an orchestral recording sound much more spacious and full, and people like Pink Floyd could have lots of fun with it in their pop records. And it's really, I don't know, it's maybe a little gimmicky, but at any rate, long story short, if you don't know already, it was invented in the late 60s. Different companies worked on different methods, none of which were apparently compatible, which was kind of no good. They released a whole bunch, I think 3 different formats came out in about 1970. And they managed to encode their quad signals into 2-channel records using various means, some of which were more successful than others. And there were 2 main ones. There were ones that used phase to redistribute signal to the rear. And then there were ones that used modulation, which I can't even explain. But you needed a cartridge that went up to 70,000 cycles, and you needed special gear. The pressings had to be pretty good. They were pretty finicky pressings because there were like frequencies, very high frequencies in these. Anyway, that was the better system for separation, but it was the tougher one to make work. And I've had various quad systems in my life, and I was never able to make my CD4 work quite properly, or maybe once or twice. Anyways, Rhino, the terrible people at Rhino who really frustrate the hell out of me because they do such good work in archiving great music, but they do such a piss poor job of it. And so when they put out Rhino put out Quadio DVDs, and you play them in what I do, because I'm just an old Luddite, I play it in my PlayStation 3. It goes into my old Harman Kardon 5.1 receiver, and it says, hey, you're playing 5.1, or it even figured out 4.0 on one of them somewhere. But at any rate, it just figures it all out and gives me perfect digital discrete surround. So I was really excited that I heard that Rhino, which as we all know is owned, I believe, by Atlantic, Warner Brothers anyways. It's all Warners, or or whatever the hell it's called now. But they were going to start putting out these, what they call Quadio releases. And the first thing they did, which I never even heard about, and now it's a super collectible stupid thing, was a box of Chicago, all their albums in quad. And I mean, if it was $100, I might have bought it. Now it's $500. No way I'm going to buy it. I don't care enough. But then they decided they were going to dip into the catalog, mostly the WIA catalog, although there are some exceptions. And they were because they're Rhino, they have to make a big event out of it. They make a big deal. So they tease you about it for a month or 2. Then they tell you what it's going to be, and then they release them in groups of 4. And I don't remember what the first group of 4 was. But none of them I really cared much about. And then they put out a second group of 4. And the second group of 4 had ones I wanted. And so what they did, bastards, was they said, oh, tell you what. If you buy 3 of them, you get the 4th one for free. So I sort of went, So this was the group of 4 that came out. Let me get these in roughly the right order. Well, it's tough. There were 2, there was no question I wanted. Black Sabbath Paranoid in Quadio. Yep, no problem. $25 US? Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. $1 Billion Babies, the best Alice Cooper studio record by a mile. He was at the peak of his fame. Excellent recording. Then they put out Jay Giles' band Nightmares. And this was sort of one of their mid-70s studio records. I don't think it was necessarily their best record. That might be Full House, but pretty representative of their Atlantic output. And then this, which I'm going to admit I've yet to play this. I know what it's going to sound like. It's going to sound great. But this record I do not really care about. However, for free I'd take it. And so that's basically how I did it. So I went, sure. So bill my credit card. Ooh, what was it? It was a lot like $100 US. Oh, I'm a Canadian. And I got billed. Everything about this was expensive. This postage was expensive. And I had to pay GST and PST. And it was dumb. They ended up costing me a lot like, God, it would have been $40 Canadian each, which was annoying. Are they good? Yeah, they're really good. I mean, let's face it. The people that are going to buy these are kind of nerds like me. They're going to have they put out America, they put out Gordon Lightfoot, they put out the Spinners, which I thought, but not for $40. I'll talk about the next release. This was the first release. So I went for it. I bought, first thing they do is they send me 3. And the one that they don't send me is the one I wanted the worst in the first place. There's no explanation. They just show up. Okay. So I bring them in, right? I wait a bit. I don't know, a couple of days. Finally, I email their, whatever, complaint department. And I get a sort of a quick message. Yep, don't worry. It's on the way. And so then I get a thing from the post office that says I have to go down there and pay a handling fee for this one. And of course, the post office charges a $10 handling fee just for looking at this thing. And then I think the reason they had to handle it was because I had to pay the GST and PST, which was like, I don't know, $5. And I ended up having to go all the way downtown. So it was a pain in the ass. So getting these was a pain in the ass. Are they good? Yeah, this is great. Now, the packaging is kind of it's okay. One thing that kind of occurred to me, now you notice us label nerds are going to, say, oh, look, the label is the right label. Good. Nowhere does it say quadrodisc. And I suspect that's because they don't own the copyright for that word. They all have the Quadra logo up here in the corner. But the originals were on what they called quadrodiscs and CD4. The package is, it's like it's a DVD box, which is kind of annoying. And if I remember correctly, they all are uniformly kind of perfunctory. They give you this. Now, this used to be on the inside, on the inner sleeve of all the Atlantic Group quadrodiscs. And all that's missing is the quadrodisc logo here. So I guess they were allowed to use that. And then there's also sort of a very perfunctory, I guess what you would have got on the original record. There are no notes. But you do get this. I get the sticker, but you do get the picture of the tape boxes, which I think is kind of interesting. Notes would have been nice. Just, anything. Notes regarding the quad release would have been interesting. But you don't get that. You don't really. So it was, it's good. The sound is good. Apparently the spinners one, there was a problem. You had to send replacements. Paranoid is these are the original quad mixes. So apparently there's a longer version of something on the quad version of Paranoid. What the hell is it again? Is it Hand of Doom? And then, so I bought all four. It was not great. Anyway, the next one came out. America, Gordon Lightfoot, the Spinners, and Mingus Moves. Well, you know what? At $40 per, I'm going to just get the one I really want, which was Mingus. So I went, sure. And then this turned out to be about $60 Canadian. And there's a mystery as to where $15 of it actually went. And I'll tell you what. So there's yet another one has come out that has a couple. There's another release of 4. And I want 2 of them, but I'm not going to buy them from Rhino. Because it's a ripoff. Their postage doubles if it's in Canada. And when they show up on Amazon, it's like the same price as Rhino converted to Canadian dollars, plus about $4 postage, which is what it should be, because it's nothing, it's CDs. So I'm just going to go with Amazon now, and for some reason there's a delay, so they might not let me, in which case I'm not buying them, because they're too expensive. This is terrific. This sound on this record is really, really great. Yet another testament to the terrific work of Jesse Ertigan, who I do believe he produced it, and coordinator Ilya Memorialiu, who started up the Finidar label for Atlantic in the 70s, which I'm fascinated with, and I can't find any information about it. Anyway, Quadio, there you go. And the quad is perfect. Oh, and the other stuff that's coming out on quad, I've mentioned it in my Zappa review of the Overnight Sensation box, but Zappa has been putting out his quad mixes, and the Overnight Sensation quad mix is as good a quad mix as I've heard. Really uses the format, I think, to its maximum for a pop rock record. So quad is great. People like 5.1, and I like 5.1 fine. But the old school quad is great because I don't know why, it's a little more pinpointy. Pink Floyd and quad now is all available in digital. I recommend it if you can hear it in proper quad. It's really a blast. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll get more stuff out here for you. Take care of each other, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon. Bye.